Previously on Virtual
title
Teen
is
Classic Graphic Novel
Mouse.
Reading.
The name of the story is, and this is where the war essentially took place. It was the Second World War, and it did expand beyond Eastern Europe. The son is listening to his dad tell stories about his experience growing up and the war. Now, as you can see here, there's a map of Eastern Europe. So the story begins in Rego Park, and the year is 1958. And we see here that Art is starting his story by describing himself in his neighborhood in Rego Park. The mid-30s to 44 encompasses the time when Adolf Hitler took over in Germany and then prosecuted the war, starting in Poland, and then it spread around the world. The war in Germany ended in 44. First chapter is called The Sheik, and then we'll press on from there. And here's The Sheik. It'd probably be better if I just push this aside for now. The Sheik, and look at it. We'll see what this is about here in a moment. Chapter 1, The Sheik. Okay. Was she the first girl you, It's out of the way. And that was chapter 1. Remember, the title of that was The Sheik. And the reason why he titled it that was because it tells about Vladik's pre-marriage years and his bachelorhood and some good background stories. Okay, let's move on with chapter 2. The honeymoon. And as you can see, by the looks of things on that graphic, chances are this honeymoon is going to be a little more than the bliss that one would expect. So let's continue. For the next few months, I went back to visit my father quite regularly to hear his story. About Mom? What are you doing, Pop? 11, 12, 13. I'm making into daily portions my pills. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So many? It's 6 pills for the heart, 1 for diabetes, and maybe 25 or 30 vitamins. For my condition, I must fight to save myself. Doctors, they only give me junk food. That's how I call prescription jugs now. I studied this in my prevention magazine. Maybe you want to read. No thanks. About Mom. Did she have any boyfriends before she met you? Not romantic, but one tall boy from Warsaw. He was a communist. Even after the marriage, when this fellow came to Sosnowiec, Anya always ran to see him. I didn't know, of course, that he was a communist. I always kept far away from communist people. A little after we were married, I came home from a selling trip. Hey, Vladik, they just arrested the seamstress that lives down your hall. She had some secret communist documents. And when I went upstairs, the police just, what's the matter? The police are here looking for Anya. She just told us that boy from Warsaw brings communist messages. She translates them into German and passes them on. Anya was involved in conspirations. That's conspiracies. Conspirations. A little before the police came, she got from friends a telephone call. They suspect you. Hide the papers quickly. But they're important. Try not to destroy them. What to do? She ran to see the seamstress, what was one of our tenants. Miss Stefanska, please, hide this package for me. Don't tell anyone about it. And Anya was a good customer, so she agreed. The police went over our house, top to bottom. It was nothing to find, so they searched the neighbors. Okay, how did you get this package? I never saw it before. One of my customers must have left it. Now, as you can see from these pictures, what we have now is pigs as representation of the Polish people, it appears. Let's see. The mice, keep in mind, the mice are Jewish, and as you know, the Nazis will be depicted as cats. So this other nationality, Polish, will be represented as pigs. Nothing to do with what happened, what's happening these days with the troublesome situation that we see, people calling policemen pigs. Let's continue now. When I found out this story, I was ready to break the marriage. I told her, Anya, if you don't want me, you have to go. I told Anya, if you want me, you have to go my way. If you want your communist friends, then I can't stay in this house. And she was a good girl. And of course, she stopped all such things. What happened to that seamstress? Miss Stefanska sat in prison for a longer time, maybe 3 months. There wasn't enough evidence, and finally the police let her go. Father-in-law paid the cost from the lawyers and gave her some money. It cost maybe 1,500 zlotys. It's Polish money. That's a lot, huh? Yeah, but not only this, at the same time, he did us even more. You know, Vladek, when you and Anya give me a grandchild, I want him to be well off. Well, I almost have enough money from my sales trips to start up a textile shop. A shop? Phew. You ought to have a textile factory. That would cost a fortune. Please, I can give you the money and plenty of credit. I started a factory in Bielsko and visited to Anya every weekend. A little before the police came, she got from her friends a phone call. They suspect, hold on a second, went the wrong way. There we go. By October 1937, the factory was going, and it was born my first son, Rishu. See the baby. He's a big baby, over 3 kilos. Oh my God, Anya, only weighs 39. Of course, you never knew him. He didn't come out from the war. Yes, I know. That's Art, of course, speaking. They're back in Regal Park, telling the story again. But wait, if you were married in February and Rishu was born in October, was he premature? Yes, a little. But you, after the war, when you were born, it was very premature. The doctors thought you wouldn't live. I found a specialist, what saved you. He had to break your arm to take you out from Anya's belly. And when you were a tiny baby, your arm always jumped up like so. We joked and called you Heil Hitler. Little humor there. Always we pushed your arm down and you would, oops. Look now what you made me do. Me? Okay, I'll recount them later. I guess he knocked his pills over, right? Yeah, knocked over a bunch of pills. Okay. No, you don't know counting pills. I'll do it after. I'm an expert for this. And so Anya stayed with the family, and I went to live in Bielsko for my factory business and to find us an apartment. But soon it came from Sosnovich a telephone. Vladek, come home right away. Anya is sick. She was crying as soon as I came in. What's wrong, darling? Sob. It didn't matter. Nothing matters. But why are you crying? I don't know. I have a good family, a fine son. I should be happy. But I don't care. I just don't want to live. Here, baby, drink this and rest. I don't understand. What's the matter? Giving birth was too much of a strain. She's always hysterical or depressed. A breakdown. Please. The doctor told us about a sanitarium, but somebody must go with her. Somebody she trusts. Everything's arranged. The child can stay here with a governess, and I'll watch your factory. Right away we went. The sanitarium was inside Czechoslovakia, one of the most expensive and beautiful in the world. I remember when we were almost arrived, we passed a small town. Oi! Everybody, every Jew from the train got very excited and frightened. Look! It was the beginning of 1938, before the war. Hanging high in the center of town, it was a Nazi flag. Here was the first time I saw it with my own eyes, a swastika. There you get a better picture of this graphic. I tell you, there's a pogrom going on in Germany today. One fellow told us of his cousin, what was living in Germany. He had to sell his business to a German and run out from the country without even the money. I am a filthy Jew is what is this guy. They're making this guy carry a sign. And look at the German soldiers. They're laughing. It was very hard there for the Jews. Terrible. Another fella told us of a relative in Brandenburg. The police came to his house and no one heard again from him. This town is Jew-free is a sign that they posted. It was many such stories. Synagogues burned, Jews beaten with no reason. Whole towns pushing out all Jews. Each story worse than the other. Let's hope those Nazi gangsters get thrown out of power. Just pray they don't start a war. The sanitarium was far. The sanitarium was far away from everything. So peaceful, so quiet. Look at these beautiful, look at how beautiful these gardens are, Anya. Uh-huh. People came from all over the world with different sicknesses. It was even shops here, a theater, really beautiful. Our room is like a luxury hotel. Look at this view. Uh-huh. Each morning, nurses would visit Anya. In each few days, I talked to the big specialist in the clinic. Well, what did the doctor say? He told me you were doing fine. Fine. Just relax. I understood much of such sicknesses, so I helped always to calm her down. Look, we got a letter from home today with a photo of Rishu. Let's see. He's a handsome boy, just like his father, yes? Yes. In the evenings, we went either to the theater or to dance in the cafe. Did I tell you the tragedy about the pillow my family lost at the start of the 1914 war? I was 7. We lived too close to the border. It wasn't safe. I told her many jokes and stories to keep her busy. So we took what we could on a wagon pulled by 4 horses and went to my grandfather's home in Radomsko. Someone rode past us and told us that we'd dropped a pillow a few miles back. A guy traveling to Amstel picked it up. Imagine, my father never rode a horse before, but he unhitched one from the wagon and rode towards Amstel. He waited and waited. Mother started crying. Surely he fell and got killed. She had begged him to let the pillow go and take all our troubles with it. The horse was bony and didn't have a saddle. Finally, late that night, Father rode back with the pillow under his bloody tuchus. That's his backside. So Father got his pillow back, but he couldn't sit down for the rest of the war. I love you, Vladek. She was so laughing and so happy that she approached each time and kissed me. So happy she was. We stayed maybe 3 months, and then we came back. Anya was completely different from when she left. Woohoo, Papa! Listen, Vladek, I didn't want you to worry while you were at the sanitarium, but brace yourself. The Bilsko factory has been robbed. What? It happened last month. They took everything. I didn't even have time to insure it before we left. Well, at least I could help you build it up again. Were you looted as part of some kind of anti-Semitic activity? I don't think this was it. Just a robbery. Like when they robbed us in Regal Park here last year? Well, in Bielsko, father-in-law helped us again to establish ourselves. In a couple of months, we were well off, quite well off. A working factory, a 2-bedroom apartment, a Polish governess, and even a maid. Look, Risho, Papa's home. You look upset, Vladek. There was another riot downtown today. Everyone yelling, Jews out, Jews out. Even 2 people killed. The police just watched. It's those Nazis stirring everybody up. When it comes to Jews, the Poles don't need much stirring up. Mrs. Spiegelman, how can you say such a thing? I think of you as part of my own family. I'm sorry, Janina. I didn't mean you. I'm just worried. Maybe we should move away, like some others have. If things get really bad, we'll run back to Sosnowiec. And would Sosnowiec be any safer than Bielsko? We thought then that Hitler wanted only the parts from Poland, like Bielsko, what used to be parts from Germany before the First World War. We were very happy still, for over a year, until August 24th, 1939. A letter from the government. A draft notice. I was in the Polish Reserves Army, and so I had to go right away. It was a big confusion everywhere. Everyone knew it would be now a war. Quick, pack everything. Your father will take you to Sosnowiec. Vladek, I'm afraid. Grab your knickknacks and doll collection. They're not important. You'll see. You may enjoy them. I was right. When things went worse later, she was able to sell such things. So Anya and Rishu and the government and the governess went in one way to Sosnowiec. And I went in a different direction to the frontier against Germany. Let's see the tank and soldiers here. And on September 1st, 1939, the war came. I was on the front, one of the first to. So twice I spilled my drugstore. Notice he knocked it over with his elbow. It's my eyes. Ever since I got in my left eye the hemorrhaging and the glaucoma, it had to be taken out from me. And now I don't see so well. And now I have a cataract inside my one good eye. You see how I have to suffer? I told you about the big shot specialist, what was going to operate me. Last year, he put me into the hospital for an immediate operation. And then he just left me. He went somewhere away to give lectures on the television. My eye started so bleeding, I had to run out to find a doctor in a different hospital. There, another specialist operated right away. Otherwise, I could have died. So now, it's a glass eye. He did a good job, no? One time, even a young doctor came to my bed there in the hospital. He looked with a light a long time in my eyes and told, Mr. Spiegelman, your left eye is perfect, but in your right eye is cataracts. He didn't know, of course, that the left eye is glass, and I didn't tell anything to him. I didn't want to make him an embarrassment. You told me about that. Well, that's enough for today, yes? I'm tired and I must count still my pills. Okay, good idea. My hand is sore from writing all this. And my friends, that's going to do it for this session. We'll start up next time with chapter 3. As you can see, the title of it is Prisoner of War. I hope you enjoyed this reading of Mouse, and that as the story unfolds, you find that our parents do have some important information that if you have time, and you should really have an interest in the way they grew up, because there's value in those types of things that our parents can teach us. Anyway, thanks for coming. I look forward to continuing this story with you. And if you have friends that you think might be interested in this, tell them about it too. Everybody's welcome to sit in for the reading of Story of Mouse.